Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. So we're probably going to get at least, well, we're getting 3 recordings out of this. The one thing I need to play, and I haven't even started working on, is Death Rattle minions. So, Death Rattle deck here. Okay. Let's see. I've still got a few things to talk about. Heck, there's even one thing I didn't even bother writing down that I can talk about. Palmer Lucky, the mess that he is, took the stand on the ZeniMax trial, where ZeniMax owners of id Software are claiming that Palmer Lucky developed Oculus Rift while he was working for id, therefore it belongs to ZeniMax, or that he stole data from id or ZeniMax. I think they're claiming both, and it's kind of hard to believe in Palmer Lucky because of stupid things he's done, stupid things he said, and funding poop posting against Hillary Clinton. And also Facebook owns Oculus Rift now, and that's also an issue, and so it's a big mess. Palmer Lucky being a high school dropout, they're trying to say he didn't have the capability of developing the Oculus Rift, which Oculus Rift of course is trying to defend. Almost certainly the right move and what would happen is if ZeniMax wins this case and it goes through all the appeals, and years later all of this happens. I almost certainly Palmer Lucky would be fired. He's being hidden away as is because they don't want to fire him in the middle of this lawsuit and strengthen the opponent of ZeniMax's case, but he's made himself a pariah, not only in the video game industries, but very possibly in every industry that is facing the public. Choose a friendly menu, getting the copy of its Death Rattle ability. Maybe summon a Death Rattle minion. Let's see. I'll do this. Time to die. This and then return. So yeah, it's still early days for this case, and we shall see what actual evidence. Both cases are not in great footing. This is a classic lawsuit that is gonna go to trial because both sides are a little guilty of something, almost certainly.
Bring out your dead.
Let's see. Will this work? See, no, if I use this to gain the Death Rattle of this, then this card doesn't have Death Rattle to trigger this.
Eat it.
So, it kind of sucks, but whatever. A modder has turned Amnesia Dark Descent into Minecraft. Not Minecraft, Minesweeper. That's a big difference. I saw a video of it. Honestly, not really impressive because you're just using props and creating something like Minesweeper, but it's not really gonna be a good example of the game. Hideki Kojima has written a love letter to the movie La La Land, which tells you one thing, and one very important thing. He is not working on Death Stranding when he's at least for the time he's writing and watching La La Land. Now, the other thing to take from that is he is now getting more and more into the movie industry, and he's friends with Guan Gel. I forgot his name. Del Tormo. Battlecry and Death Rattle. So, let's hit this, and then let's do this, and then let's do this.
Here we go.
So yeah, he's friends with a couple of people in the Hollywood circle, and so he may very well have watched. He almost certainly watched the movie and wrote the love letter because he loved it, or he may have just done it as a friendly thing. La La Land is this weird musical that's really just Oscar bait. People not in LA aren't probably even going to understand some of the
Here we go.
connections and ideas depicted in it. In a weird way, it's a love for LA when even people in LA kind of hate LA. So it doesn't make the most amount of sense, and it's just kind of a simplistic thing. And those I haven't even seen the movie, so I can't really say too much about it, but but the important thing to note there is, if you're holding your breath for Death Stranding, don't, because you will die before it happens. He's going to take his sweet time like he did for all of the Metal Gear Solid games. It's probably going to be even weirder than the Metal Gear Solid games, and it's going to have some moderate appeal, but in the end, it's not the game to hang your hat on. Almost certainly.
Here we go.
I'm playing a lot of Death Rattle characters here, but I'm not sure I'm gonna win. It doesn't matter if I win or not. What in the world did I write here? My handwriting is atrocious. I'm half asleep. It's 11:10 in the evening. I'm half asleep. My writing's terrible. I'm just melting down as I'm doing this.
Bring out your dead.
Let's see. 6 plus 2 is 7, 8 plus this is 9. So this and let's see. How can I even survive here? I can't. So we do this. I do this. And I can't kill this one.
Here we go.
So we do this and this. Just in the done. Man, I cannot. Oh, Steam Update now allows you to move games. It's a little bit difficult to set up because you have to go into preferences and create a new folder in a different location, which obviously it would have to be a different hard drive. I see no reason why you would want to move the location from one folder on the hard drive to another folder on the hard drive. Let's see, how many of these do I need to play? 9 more. 9 more Death Rattle things will be done. But once you set up that second location, the button just appears under the individual properties of each game, where you can move it. So no longer would you have to uninstall and reinstall games. You could instead have like a 5 terabyte game, hard drive and just move it off your main SSD
always do.
when you are not playing it, and just have everything installed, which might be helpful in a lot of different ways. Some games like Portal have mods that you need installed, so you could keep those mods around a little bit easier too, even though the mods are free, and they sometimes seem to leave your library. Some free games seem to just leave your library
Bring out your dead.
if you uninstall them, which it seems weird, and definitely not something I'd want. Now, the problem here is I have over 500 games. If I start doing that, I'm filling up my backup hard drive with things that are technically backups of the games, but taking away space for backups of the file history of the videos I've recorded, and backups of important downloads that I can't reinstall easily from Steam. Sure, at the end of the day, if I had some belief that Steam was going out of business and I needed a backup copy of all those games, and I was sure that Steam would be able to run those games after Steam went out of business, or there would be some simple hack to fix all that, then yes, I could imagine doing that. But currently, as it stands, it feels very much like I would just be filling up a hard drive and for not a great reason. One day I will certainly consider doing something like that, and it probably would be closer to 10, 11, 12 terabytes of data if I just install every game I own. Maybe that's a little inaccurate. I don't know. Games are typically that huge. Let's see.
Here we go.
Hit this guy. But I would be more inclined, definitely, if I was just rolling in money to have extra hard drives, I would be more inclined to download all my videos. YouTube was giving me trouble where my latest videos were not updating at all. So for all of Friday, it was showing Thursday's videos, and it wasn't until today, Saturday, that we are shown
Here we go.
that the latest videos are showing it, and I may have gotten some things out of order because of it, because I was messing with it. It was just like a glitch or an updating thing, I don't know. I thought maybe my thumbnail had been flagged, but I don't know why my thumbnail would have been flagged, because it was a custom made thumbnail. It wasn't a custom thumbnail, it was directly taken from the video. That still doesn't stop people from flagging thumbnails, but it never said anything like that, or implied anything like that was the case. So I just think it was a glitch. Let's see. This and that one.
Here we go.
I'm gonna lose, but I think I played enough Death Rattle cards. So, yeah, downloading all of my videos and having a backup on my personal hard drive would be very useful. Very, very useful, and something I need to do at some point. Another thing I need to do is I still have that SSD replacement that's supposed to replace the SSD I have now that's bigger, and then I'm supposed to take the SSD I'm using now on this computer and go try to fix or rebuild my server so I could have backups on that.
Mistakes.
And all of that space would be free, and then it would make a lot more sense. Can she do 6 more damage? Let's see. If you can do another deadly poison and get past my...
Well
You
played.
can probably win, actually, right here. Alright. We've still got some things to talk about. The Portal lead designer has joined an EA studio to work with Visceral Games to make a Star Wars game. So that's a big mess. But there's a lot of things that can be... Oh man, I have to play one more Death Rattle minion. Darn it. That can be inferred from this and possibly incorrectly inferred from this. But the Portal lead designer, was this a Portal lead designer that was working at Valve? Almost certainly, unless this person had at some point left Valve, because this isn't somebody who made Narvakiel drop in Digipin when they were in college. This is somebody that made Portal. Maybe Portal 1 and then they left. Maybe Portal 2. I know there was one person who worked on Portal that went on to run King, which went on, I believe, to be purchased by a Chinese company. So I suspect she's just working now for King, the makers of Candy Crush in China, which, okay. And honestly, I always got the impression that she didn't really have what it took, and she knew it, to make video games. Honestly, I'm not sure any of the people who got hired out of college from Digipin had what it takes to make video games. And on a bigger scale, I'm not sure working for Valve helped them in their career any. Because it put them in a place where they could just do whatever they wanted and never have to produce anything. And they're probably not learning a ton of stuff from other people. They're probably learning a little bit, but there's probably no mentorship program or pathways to success developed there. So I'm not sure anybody that actually worked on Portal have had a great improvement on their thing. On the other hand, maybe they won the lottery. Maybe unlike most video game programmers who aren't ever going to be known or remembered, they've won the lottery. They've made Portal. They made Portal 2. Those are games that will go down in history as great, and maybe that's the best they can do. But the next thing in this announcement that's implied is the person the lead designer on Portal, clearly to make a game that he either wanted to or just in general to make a game, period, he had to leave Valve because there's seems to be, from my perspective, no games in development there. And we had Gabe Newell doing an AMA and he announced a new game in development. Don't believe it. I don't believe it, really. Sure, games are... To be more fair, games are definitely in development. But games are always in development in Valve. But games don't come out of Valve. They just get half started, half finished.
Unleash the beast.
And I understand that. I was trained in programming. I understand programming. And I totally had... Oh, that was terrible. I totally have had maybe a dozen plus, maybe 50, 60 programming ideas that I started on and didn't finish. There were entire things I was trying to program, and in the course of programming them, I'm realizing I'm programming it for old software, old hardware, inappropriate things. I was trying to make programs that ran on a HP Pocket PC before cell phones were a thing. It would be completely ridiculous to have a program that only ran on Pocket PC these days. It's pointless. Nobody has a Pocket PC. Nobody even knows what a Pocket PC is. And before that, people, like, a lot more people were probably familiar with putting in programs in BASIC on their TI 83 calculators or 84 calculators, whatever they are now. Have they finally finished gotten people up to like 90, 92s. I don't think they like the 92s, but because they have QWERTY keyboards, it's too easy to type in answers.
Cthulhu! Cthulhu!
The,
Cthulhu!
making a program that runs on that certainly would be silly. I didn't have any real projects on that one, I don't think. I've made incomplete games on BASIC, but MS-DOS BASIC, Microsoft BASIC, nobody's going to use that other than a learning tool, and they shouldn't even be using that as a learning tool these days.
Job's done.
My main bit of programming was on C++. I believe version 4.5. Now you're talking. Nowadays you'd be programming in C# or C++, at least version 10 or something, whatever version they're up to. If it's still at 4.5, that would just mean that nobody uses C++ anymore, or Visual Basic, whatever Microsoft wants you to use these days. Like, when I was programming, I was using a program compiler that built the programs following my instructions, called Borderlands, and now everything is Microsoft Visual Basic. So I'm getting into a longer story here, but the point is, like, when I took my HTML class, for another example, like, I was probably programming in a very old version of HTML and JavaScript. It was definitely before CSS pages. It was definitely before how those things are made now. And arguably the old way may be better, but certainly that's kind of more up for debate. Let's see. But yeah, I can totally understand the idea of programmers starting on programs and finishing and not finishing them, or starting on programs, finishing them, and finding that they really don't have any value in the world that you're living in by the time you're done. And I feel like that's very much what Valve is. So ideally, I might work rather well in Valve if they hired me. I don't think I would qualify for it. And since I've learned new things, and now I'm of an opinion that probably wouldn't be very popular, they probably wouldn't want me there, because I'd tell them, look, you need to improve. We need to improve on the Steam elements, and we need to actually make a game and get it out there, and we need strong leadership. I think immediately if I worked at Valve, I would have to. It would be a conflict of directing styles. I would have to go up to Gabe Newell and say, look, you need to be in charge. You need to be the boss. And if you're telling somebody that they need to be the boss and they don't want to be the boss, and then it's just not going to work. Because as some low-level entry employee, unless Gabe Newell wants to make me the boss, if he wants to make me project lead and have hiring and firing ability and really put the fear of God into the employees at Valve, that's the only way it would really work with me there, because I would want to see some results. I'd want to actually progress, and I don't think he wants to run his business that way, and that's fine. Turns out Gabe Newell's very rich too, so I guess he can do whatever he pleases. Steal that ability.
Hallucinating time!
Here we go.
But
Job's done.
anyways, so this person, this lead designer, left Valve to work for EA. Now it seems a little weird that EA is working with Visual Games, but I can take that two ways. Either they're working together, or on the same project between two different companies, or EA now owns Visceral Games and I didn't catch it. Visceral Games made Dead Space 1, but they really haven't done too much that interesting otherwise. And it's for a Star Wars game, and okay, Star Wars games are going to have to come out non-stop these days. There will be almost certainly a demand as Disney releases a annual Star Wars movie. They're going to demand a Star Wars game, at least one, every time a movie comes out. And unless there is an actual decision at Disney to not run things that way, that's just something we should come to expect. Let's see. Kill this guy. And kill this guy.
Here we go.
And attack. Let's see. What is this? Okay, let me see if I can get this guy's name right. Stephen Gogna. I've probably completely mispronounced this. The director, writer of Traffic and Syriana, the movies, he will write and direct the Division film. Now, we just had recently the Assassin's Creed film, and they wanted to make a whole series about that. And I've just heard that Sony is considering getting rid of its music and movie section, and they're waiting to see if they're thinking about spinning it off, and they're waiting to see if the Emoji movie gets them money, because they think they're gonna be able to start a franchise on emojis. It does have Patrick Stewart voicing the poop emoji, I believe is what I saw too. This is a lot of information I'm saying right now that could be inaccurate completely. But yeah, I would love to see Sony split off, and then maybe we'd have a few less content IDs. Just selfishly from Sony, not that I get that many content IDs from Sony. It would be much better if Warner Brothers and Universal Music Groups, which might be Sony, but I don't think it is, if those people went out of business, that would be a lot nicer. But it still doesn't really solve anything. The thing that needs to happen is I need a legal defense fund that I certainly can't afford, so I can appeal and say, sue me if you think this really isn't this copyright infringement, and hope they don't actually sue me. But anyways, I was messing with the things that have content ID things on them, trying to make sure at the very least they're viewable. They don't have any viewing restrictions on them, even if the money is not going to me.
Wanted.
And I need that money desperately. I mean, I get like 60 cents in the past seven days. 60 cents for 40 hours plus of content. That's low. But to get back to the Division movie, even though the Assassin's Creed series, they may still try to make a series out of it, and it did seem to appeal, from what I heard, just anecdotally, it seemed like it did appeal to people that didn't know it was actually a video game movie, which is interesting.
You want it? I got it.
Let's see. Let's see if we kill this one first. But yeah, if the Assassin's Creed series actually does get annualized and becomes a series, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Not a terrible thing. There's kind of a difference though between the Division and Assassin's Creed, because in a lot of ways the story in Assassin's Creed was really dumb. So transferring that over to a movie is actually a very dumb idea. You could try to touch it up, but they really didn't. From what I heard, it seemed like they didn't care one bit.
Can I light your fire?
And that was a waste of a card.
I'll get him.
Job's done.
But the Division, on the other hand, is kind of a bad playing video game with a better story, because it's Tom Clancy's the Division. How much Tom Clancy really worked on that, and how important Tom Clancy's work really is, because it's not like I've heard of a bunch of other Tom Clancy novels made into movies. Maybe Air Force One is a Tom Clancy novel. Maybe some of those Harrison Ford movies actually are. But deal 4 damage to all. There we go. But the Division seems like a slightly interesting idea. A terrorist attack happens. They put a plague on the money of New York, and then this entire group of people that's this secret division gets activated to shoot people, basically. I don't know if that's an unfair description, honestly. Let's see.
You want it? I got it.
Let's play this.
Cooking time.
But the Division game is just about running around shooting people, and there's several different factions and things, but it's mostly just set in this snowy thing. And see, it feels like an action movie.
Excuse
So-
me, you are on fire.
So I could see.
We have many secrets.
Job's done.
Just keep pounding this. All I need is one victory, so I need to move forward. So yeah, maybe the Division will get working, although it's not a good thing to say that there's so little interest in a movie that one person can both write and direct it. Because that's just not how movies get made if people care about it. And if people don't care about the movie, that means the budget's probably going to be really low. And it's going to be this pet project.
I must remain hidden to remain free.
Let's see. So, yeah, that's a little scary. Let's see. Next thing. What in the world? Man, my handwriting is terrible. Alright, here we go. Might Magic Showdown has come out beta. And it comes with this, it has a separate free figure painting app tool. And the game itself doesn't look that amazing. But the idea of giving a painting tool is kind of interesting. And it looked a little interesting.
Job's done.
And it's certainly something we haven't seen before. I don't think we've ever seen a 3D rendered full animation models of characters that you're then given a lot of effort into. We've seen similar things. Oh man, I'm going late. We've seen similar instances of seeing 3D models in games like Resident Evil 6 and plenty of other games. You do something, you unlock the 3D model, you can spin around and look at the character. But the idea of, here's the 3D model at the beginning, paint it to make it look like your version of that model and have it in Hearthstone. I think that's going to really appeal to a lot of the people who play Warhammer and games like tabletop games like that, and they do paint their
You asked
things.
for it.
Now, I don't know how many people there are actually like that, but it is definitely something new to do in video games, and anytime there's something new to do in video games, that's worth keeping an eye on. This might be a new trend. Microsoft has just debuted this Pix graphics tool for a DX12 beta version of it. Pix, P-I-X. Not something people would particularly use unless they're making DirectX 12 drawings and the whatever for video games, and whatever software they are using is going to support Pix, which maybe that's something a lot of things do, like Unreal and Unity. Maybe it's not.
Are you my master?
There's this Micro Machines World Series game coming out sometime in April, and that is an interesting dilemma in itself, because it's
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
it's it looks like more of a Mario Kart style game with Micro Machines than a racing game, which sounds interesting. Again, if I can play things that are good rip-offs of Nintendo games, because I'm not going to cover Mario Kart, that might be very interesting. But I would need a single player mode, which I'm not sure it has, and
Can I
it
light
would
your
need
fire?
it would need several to be fun to play, good maps, and I could only play it so far as a series to cover. Just run through the entire series once, and maybe there will be some things you have to do to unlock certain levels, but any racing game I kind of want to just power through it, and it might benefit from just playing the game, unlocking everything, and then going there, but that's not a very valid way to play a game. Just do this. Darn it. I didn't play that right at all. And then the final thing I have to talk about, as I'm about to lose, is what? There's this creator of a game called Ooblets that was inspired by the sales, mostly, it seems, from Stardew Valley, which is another Stardew Valley thing. We got a lot of things about Stardew Valley. I guess this is the fallout of the success of Stardew Valley.
Wanted, dead or alive.
Let's see.
We have many secrets.
Job's done.
But this person may quit their job, and they're on Patreon, and I think they're getting $700 a month to make this Ooblets game. It looks like a pretty good looking 3D version of Stardew Valley / Pokemon, because there's like mushrooms wandering around, and they fight, I think, and they're following you. It kind of looks like they're not going to get up to 150 right now, at least as far as what it's showing. Probably not a good idea to quit your job and quit your day job and make a video game. I think in this society, unfortunately, you kind of have to do both. Keep your main job and work on a video game.
Blossoms.
Excuse me, you are on
Job's
fire.
done.
But whatever. And the game doesn't look terrible. It's So maybe Oublets will be one we play. Probably not though, because I think even then the Stardew Valley aspect of it would just get in the way. I would prefer something that's more of a complete just rip off of Pokemon and only Pokemon. And even then, I'm not sure I'd really enjoy that something like that.
I strike.
Here. So we're going into 40 minutes. This is where I kind of wish I could break up the videos, but I won't do that. And it's just too late right now. It's nearly midnight. We're 9 minutes away from midnight. I should do an arena run. I'm thinking next recording session we'll probably not have a thing to talk about. What am I trying to say? Probably won't have a tavern brawl.
You want it? I got it.
So that will be a consideration too. Just going to play this. So yeah, if next recording session I do a tavern brawl, I may be stuck into a tavern brawl for an entire recording. I may end up separating a tavern brawl into 2 recordings. I need more recordings. I'm falling behind there. I'm falling behind on everything. This will be the year in which I think I'm going to try to get ahead, but to get ahead is going to be a difficult challenge.
You want it? I got it.
Let's see, Blizzard for 6. 2. Let's see.
Drink up me
I'll
I'll
get
go
him.
get one of these guys, and in the turn, deal 2 damage to all enemies and freeze them. See, if this was just one cheaper, I could play both these cards, but I can't, so. Deal this. And deal this. This, and this, and this, and then a turn. So if I can get these 2 to hit next turn, I'll win. I know we're going long here, but we're going to finish the quest, and I'd prefer to get the quest done on screen.
Do you hear its call?
These are Murloc Razor Ghosts. Haven't seen these guys before.
Listen closely.
Next secret you play this turn costs 4. Let's see. We want to do this, and this, and then this, I guess. We'll just kill all these guys. He's only got 2 cards. I don't see what he could do. Even if he kills this guy and this guy and this guy, which is possible. Or all of them. I guess now he's figured out a way to kill everybody. all I need is a spell. A Pyroblast spell would win, or
Listen closely.
Fireball spell. So, play this.
Cast a spell. I want to cast a spell.
Let's see. There we go. I could also try to nickel and dime this guy down in 6 turns. When a friendly minion dies, put 2 copies in your hand. So they'll almost certainly kill this guy. As soon as they get an opportunity.
Listen closely.
22. This, this, victory. Yay, another victory with the... Now, the thing here is I should have played ranked anyways on her, but it would just make it more difficult because the better players play on ranked. Because I still need 123 wins to get up to 500 to have a gold version of her. Yeah, that's probably never going to happen. Anyways, we got the quest done and we are at nearly 6,000 and we're going to probably have to start doing arena runs. And that'll be interesting. And the stone ball, we go. And did we do anything with the collection since we're wasting a bunch of time here? Nope, we didn't. That's it for this recording session. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. So I've dropped a comment, haven't I? Because I was adding... I was thinking about what I changed on my ending here. And I've dropped the like, share, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, comment, and watch every second of my videos is what I should be saying, and I'm leaving out comments now. I do want people to actually comment if they to flood out the spam if nothing else. And then finally, down below in the description box, I have links to all my social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, and Battle.net. So friend and follow me on all of those. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.